to trigger this kind of protestation. Absolutely, and that's what they're counting on in terms of, report it. If you see someone, if you see an ICE agent, wherever you see, they're saying, they're encouraging the residents to immediately either post on social media or contact the
Bullshit.
rapid response network.
Bullshit.
And that is the only way that they're able to know if, in fact, there's going to be a raid, because there is absolutely no transparency. They're not going to give notice when they're going to be arriving. There's no public notice or explanation from ICE. Citizens are not informed. The leaders are not informed.
We watched the damage and the destruction and the criminal element in downtown LA over the weekend. Here you have people truly protesting, truly activating their voices in a peaceful way. This certainly sends a different message from the chaos we saw in downtown LA of the true issue that is at heart here and why people are taking to the streets. Your thoughts on that in comparison?
Well, excuse us. This is Santa Ana, where initially we thought there was we do know that there's an anti-ICE protest in Santa Ana, but it was mostly peaceful until now. So we interrupted Gina's comments to bring you this so that we can show you how police are responding to a protest in Santa Ana.
So I was just reflecting on how peaceful that protest was there in Whittier. Here you see things have escalated in Santa Ana. Now, Gina had talked about different ICE activity and raids happening at locations in the southeast part of LA County. Santa Ana is in Orange County, and you can see quite a police presence there. Obviously, some kind of actions are happening that police felt like they had to. Right there, you see people confronting officers right there. So Santa Ana, not sure. It's a pretty big department, Susan. Not quite sure if they're seeking backup from other departments in Orange County, the Sheriff's Department.
Right, and it's key that we are seeing that some of the protesters are agitated and they are yelling at the police officers. And who knows what prompted this arrest here, but he has the flexible handcuffs on, and we'll look.
Looks like they've detained 2 or 3 people there. And you can see the crowd. Obviously, they're trying to take pictures, document quite an agitated situation here.
Unbelievable.
Not surprising given the nature of the issue at hand here that we are seeing this kind of commotion in another part, not just the city of LA.
Well, that's the other thing, is that sometimes we focus so heavily on one spot that what happens is we don't know about other areas where perhaps there are some other kinds of demonstrations. Yesterday, we spent so much time on downtown LA when, in fact, Gina had been at a protest in Pasadena, which one could say was successful in that they were protesting the fact that ICE agents were staying in a couple of hotels in Pasadena. And lo and behold, apparently, according to Gina's report, the hotel said, perhaps the ICE agents need to leave because it's a distraction for the other patrons, the other visitors in that hotel. So that didn't get a lot of attention. Now we're in Santa Ana. We thought for most of the day it was a quiet demonstration, a quiet protest. Things have started to heat up, so we'll have to keep an eye on this one. But right now, whatever happened that sparked a couple of arrests, it is now seemingly dying down.
We are pointing out, though, that these ICE raids, the ICE activity is not limited to the city of Los Angeles. We were in Paramount a couple days ago, which is another area of LA County. You had mayors talking about raids happening today in Huntington Park, and this is right here in Santa Ana. People are there on a loudspeaker. They have their signs. You can see there's been spray painting on the wall there. LAPD had a
once again, we're seeing police in that skirmish line trying to keep protesters in a certain area of the downtown Santa Ana area. This is most likely near the Civic Center where the courts are and the police department has their headquarters. Okay, now we're getting a slightly wider shot. There's about, how many people do you think are there, Christine?
Hard to tell because we don't have an aerial shot to really get a feel for that, but you can tell that crowd is quite animated there. They apparently have not needed to call in a backup department or agency from this shot here. Don't know if this is the only day that there's been protests in Santa Ana. There is a large Latino community in Santa Ana, so it's not surprising that there would be activity in the streets here and people calling out the ICE protest, the anti-ICE protest that we're seeing here.
Yeah, I just heard something that suggested there was a flashbang, but that could be just somebody in the crowd. It doesn't look as if the officers are using that kind of strategy to keep the crowd in order. I would say, I mean, I realize that we just saw kind of a pretty rough and tumble arrest. I'm not saying it was inappropriate. I'm just saying that the young man was sort of, you know, on the ground and kind of tossed around a little bit. But the posture of the police officers, I mean, they're doing their business, but we definitely have seen police officers in a place where they look much more agitated or much more at the ready to use their less than lethal rifles or what have you. These police officers, I don't think they have the less than lethal arms, but they are prepared for a riot or prepared for big crowds. They've got the big helmets on. They've got the flexible handcuffs on their waistbands there in case they need them. And once again, you know, if we say maybe a couple hundred, maybe a couple hundred people, at least from his perspective.
Susan, I'm looking at a report from the Orange County Register, which is the big newspaper there in Orange County, where Santa Ana is in Orange County. And they are reporting that there were ICE raids in Santa Ana, ICE activity.
Unbelievable.
At a Home Depot, at a business park, and at a commercial area in the Orange County area, in the Santa Ana area. This was perhaps yesterday, if I have this right here. Fountain Valley agents were reported near a car wash and a fast food restaurant. That is from the Orange County Register. That could be the reason why you see so much emotion here at this hour in Santa Ana, because they've had a series of their own ICE activity here that is concerning these people.
Right, and you know, you will hear often we talk about ICE near Home Depot, and that is in part because it is a well-known area for day laborers, people who hang out near the parking lot of Home Depot, looking for work, hoping for work. So it's a low-hanging fruit, if you will, for ICE agents if they're looking for potentially undocumented people. But when we talked to the U.S. Attorney on Saturday, he pointed out that the original...
I don't understand why you'd wave a Mexican flag
in Paramount near the Home Depot
with what you're protesting. Mexico's about 40 miles south of you.
Now, I just want to point out,
as I understand it, President Trump will give you $1,000 to help you across there. And you can why you wave a Mexican flag.
Two areas of Southern California now. So two areas
what you're
where
protesting.
there are protesters
Mexico's about
that are
40 miles south of you.
against the anti-immigrant stance of the Trump
As I understand
administration.
it,
And
President Trump will give you
himself.
$1,000
So again,
to help you across
LA,
there.
downtown LA, up in your left-hand corner, and I'm trying to see how things are going. It seems as if there's a lot of people. There's a strong police presence, but it doesn't seem as out of control as what we experienced yesterday and last night.
Apparently, this demonstration has grown over the evening. And again, talking about those ICE raids yesterday in Santa Ana, reports are, again, this is coming from the Orange County Register, that there were several people, a dozen people detained outside of that Home Depot on Harbor Boulevard, and several others being detained throughout the day. You talked about day laborers waiting for work at the Home Depots that we see from time to time. That apparently was indeed the situation in this case here. So not a surprise that you would see protests in Santa Ana here.
Santa Ana is also the seat of Orange County. There's a lot of, that's where the Orange County supervisors, they meet in the Santa Ana Civic Center. So it's also, okay, some kind of action there. That's the, is that the LA camera? Everybody, yeah, from Skyfox, it's the LA camera. Something occurred that forced a smaller group to take off. And you see that police officer with that high-powered flashlight?
Really strong.
That is a strategy as well. That's a warning. Get back. It's not comfortable to look into that very strong light. And when we saw that group sort of run away from the corner, we don't exactly know what triggered it. Okay, so once again, your larger shot is Orange County. The smaller one up in the corner would be downtown Los Angeles. But again, this time, Christine, remember when we were on the air this time of the night, things were pretty dodgy. We were feeling quite a bit like we couldn't go anywhere. We had to stay put and watch all of the activity and make sure that we were covering it appropriately.
Well, as we watch this here in Santa Ana, reading comments from the Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes, who said criminal activities such as vandalism, destruction of property, and assaults will not be tolerated. Free speech, yes, but nothing like I just described there. The district attorney also monitoring that situation. Back now to the city of LA with this.
There you go. So LAPD reminding the crowd that now they've declared officially an unlawful assembly. That means the police have the right to tell the crowd and the protesters or the people in downtown LA that they must disperse.
Let's just listen in for a minute here. Downtown LA live. Oh, my apologies. This is Santa Ana right now. We are watching Santa Ana here live. Again, we had word from the Orange County Register of ICE activity, quote, people detained in the Santa Ana area yesterday, leading protesters to come out to the streets tonight. This, we are watching Santa Ana live. We have moved on from the city of LA, which seems to be much calmer. We have quite the crowd there. So as we're watching this line of police officers, you are hearing several announcements about an unlawful assembly. We are seeing several announcements being broadcast over some kind of loudspeaker there. So probably no excuse for people who are still there to not have heard this notice. And pretty much if this skirmish line wants to move forward and clear the crowd, they can do so. And we saw a few people being detained already who probably got a little too close to police, or we've seen them, if there's an agitator, somebody at the forefront, they tend to pull them out. All right, so here we go.
So there's the police going step by step, closer and closer. Not sure if that smoke canister was thrown by police as a way to do a little crowd control. Now we're seeing things being tossed by the demonstrators. That's not going to go over well. Because a lot of these police officers, they've been paying attention to what occurred in LA. So they are going to be operating on the idea of we got to do what we need to do to make sure that things don't degrade as they did in the in the downtown LA area. I do want to point out, apparently my mic was down, that the city of Santa Ana did validate and say that ICE was in the city to conduct their enforcement actions, and that the city wanted people to know, the residents to know, that the city of Santa Ana is compliant with the state of California Values Act. So the police department does not and will not participate in immigration enforcement efforts. So in some respects, both the police and the demonstrators are on the same side. But in the world where they're just trying to make sure that the crowd doesn't get out of hand, then the police will indeed conduct themselves and strategize to make sure that the crowd stays either calm or disperses and is moved along away from this area. I believe this is the Civic Center area. And we did see a bit of an explosion there. It's very easy for people to get fireworks and, you know, cherry bombs and whatnot that are distraction.
And you had mentioned that it has been harder to cover all parts of Southern California because it is a very big territory. In case you're watching from elsewhere, we cover Los Angeles County, Orange County, Ventura County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, and sometimes we drop into San Diego, and sometimes we go north to Santa Barbara. And, yeah, exactly. So a lot of areas to cover, but according to the Orange County Register, ICE has been active with their activity detaining people, not just in Santa Ana, but also in the Fountain Valley area, which is another nearby community. There's Huntington Beach also, and we're talking about people